get started. It is 7 o'clock. Just to introduce myself, let everybody know who is leading the class. My name is Bill Moore. I am 46 years in this business, not only doing restaurants, all those different brands you see up there, but I've done street food vending since 1981. I've had my own hot dog carts, my own hot dog trailer, and then just a generalized food trailer, and also had my own restaurant at one point. I've written 4 books on food vending, one about hot dogs, and then the other 3 about transitioning to a restaurant or from a restaurant, and then one about food trucks, and then getting people off the food truck and having a real business as opposed to creating your own job. So tonight we are doing Food Truck 101, putting your food truck puzzle together. We've already covered legal and we've covered numbers. This week we're going to cover partners. And I'm not talking about the kind of partners that give you money. I'm talking about all the people you're going to need to help you operate your business, because you can't do it all by yourself, as much as we would like to think that we can. So the first thing I want to do is ask if anybody is already open, could you share something that has happened to you that a supplier came in and bailed you out and you were so thankful you had that supplier? You can just unmute yourself and just give a shout. And if you are not open, then I'll share my story to let you guys know how valuable having these partners, the suppliers, can be. I've, again, done this a very, very long time. And over the course of the years, I've had things happen at just the absolute wrong time. For example, we had a big 4th of July weekend coming up, and it's one of those where the 4th of July ends up creating that long weekend. So you start getting busy about Thursday evening, and you're busy until the next Tuesday, and you love it. The negative to that is everybody else is busy too. So the supplies that you come to rely on end up evaporating really quickly if you don't think about it. So this one particular year, we ended up running out of buns, and we ran out of buns way earlier than we should have. And I happen to know some people in the bakery business and would call them and say, hey, I need some buns. Can you help me out? Nobody had any buns. The last person on my list was a supplier that I used occasionally. And I called him up and said, please, do you have any buns at all? I'll pay whatever you got. Just, I need buns. Otherwise, I'm out of business. The guy said, not a problem. I got you covered. Brought me all the buns I could possibly use to get through that weekend. And he said, if I needed more, he would definitely get me more. That's the kind of relationship you want to build with a supplier, so that they are there when you need them and bail you out whenever you have any kind of problem creep up. So does anybody else have a story to share? All right. We'll go ahead and jump into the material then. If you guys have a question, just please hold them until the end of the presentation. And if you would rather just type your questions, you can certainly put them in the chat. Just click on the little chat button and you can type away to your heart's content. And I'll answer all of those at the end as well. So when we're talking about having partners to help you with your business, and I got these kind of in alphabetical order. So we'll start with attorneys. Do you have to have an attorney? No. Should you get one, at least talk to one? Yes, especially when it comes to some circumstances that you're going to run into as a business owner. If you get the least little bit of success with your business, you are going to be sued. And I would much rather have an attorney in my pocket than to be scrambling through the yellow pages or the internet trying to find an attorney that's going to be able to handle my case. But you also may need an attorney if you're going to do something as simple as an LLC. And yes, you can file the LLC paperwork yourself and never ever talk to an attorney. You can save yourself, several $100s. But when you talk to an attorney, they can explain to you the details on how you should keep that LLC in good standing with the state, because there are reporting circumstances that you have to fill out. Sometimes they're annually. You have to fill out pieces of paperwork to keep your LLC in force, besides giving them money every year. An attorney can explain that. An attorney can also explain how to keep your LLC in force by how you operate your business. One of the things that a lot of business owners do that destroy the protection of an LLC is they commingle money, because they look at the business as their money, which it is, but the business money has to be kept separate from your personal money. If you don't do that, then the point that you might get sued, and a lawsuit is somebody saying you caused a problem and I'm going to sue you for it. And then when attorneys get involved, they bring everybody into it. So if an individual is suing your business, they're bringing in your food suppliers, they're bringing in people that provide propane, they're bringing in every possible person that they can. And then the judge is going to throw out people, like they'll throw out the propane dealer going, no, they have nothing to do with this. They're going to throw out the suppliers, they'll throw out a lot of people, that it gets down to being you and the person suing you. What the attorney is going to try to do is break down your LLC so that they can also have access to all of your personal money and your personal ownership of like your house or your car. Because if all they're trying to do is sue your business and your business is just a food truck with its inventory, there's not a lot of money there. So they want to break down that LLC protection. And an attorney can explain to you how not to lose that protection. You're going to need an accountant or a bookkeeper. And there is a difference. A bookkeeper is somebody that's gone to school for a short amount of time to learn how to do things on spreadsheets and on accounting books, as far as keeping your business expenses and cash flow organized. An accountant, on the other hand, has gone to school for a long time, and they know more about taxes and they know more about business strategies to help you to be more effective in using your money. I suggest, if you're not familiar with certainly business taxes, at least for a couple of years, have an accountant help you out. I was lucky when I started doing this business. My mom was a vice president of a bank, and she was the vice president of the accounting department. So she knew all about accounting. So she helped me the first few years I was in business, and she did my taxes for a number of years, but she taught me how to do them. So at the point that she was no longer with us, I was able to carry on without her. And it's important that you get some type of instruction from somebody that knows what they're doing. And I would always go to the people that have been educated in this. Go with the accountant, and if it has to be an attorney, go with an attorney. The commissary. All of our food trucks need a commissary. And that's even the states that don't make you have a commissary, because there's at least two things your food truck cannot do on its own. One is it can't generate water, and one, it can't dispose of the water. So you have to have some legal place to pick up fresh water and then to dump your wastewater. So it may not be called a commissary, but that's what it amounts to. Florida, you can be a self-sufficient food truck. And that means we have all the proper cleaning equipment, we have the refrigeration, we have the power, and they will say, yes, you can be self-sufficient, but we still have to tell them where we're picking up our fresh water and where we're dumping our waste. So we have a commissary. It just may not have that official name. When you're looking for a commissary, look for shared kitchen, because the word commissary, if you were to look it up on the internet, may return a lot of military references. In our area where I live, there's two different military bases that we're in between. So if you look up the word commissary, it's taking you to the shopping that's held on base. So it doesn't help you find that kitchen that you need. So to help you find the kitchen, look up shared kitchen, incubator kitchen, and then look for the minimum requirements that your state has, so you know how much or how little money you need to be spending. Because a commissary is going to charge you as much money as they possibly can, and you want to spend as little as you possibly need to. So understand what your state requires, and then don't be afraid to negotiate when somebody says, we want 17 an hour plus $350 a month. Won't hurt a bit if you say, oh, I'll give you 15 an hour and we'll do 200 a month. Because the only thing they can do is say no. But don't be afraid to negotiate. You're going to need an insurance agent. You're going to need at least 3 kinds of insurance. And these are the minimum requirements. and you want to talk to an insurance agent, do not listen to people that are on even our Facebook group at times. If you're towing a trailer, you need commercial auto on the tow vehicle, because you're going to have somebody who's going to say, but my insurance policy covers when I have a trailer. Yes, it does, except if that trailer is used in a business. So the second that you stick a logo on your trailer, or that you open the thing up and start selling food out of it, that trailer is not a personal vehicle, it's a business, and it has to be towed by something that's covered by a commercial auto policy. That commercial auto policy would take care of the trailer being towed. So if you were to get into a wreck that damaged the tow vehicle and the trailer, the actual box, then that insurance covers it. But your business isn't the box. Your business is what's inside the box. So you need commercial property. The commercial property would be the equipment that's held inside the trailer. It would be the inventory, your food and your paper inventories. Because if you got into a wreck to where it damaged those things and now you're not in business, you want commercial property to pay for that equipment and to pay for your loss of your inventory. So that's two that you got to have. Now there's a third one that you got to have, and that one is liability insurance. You're cooking food, and there is always going to be the potential that you miss something and accidentally make somebody sick. And there is certainly the potential that somebody's going to blame you for having made them sick. Doesn't mean that you did, but you still could be a recipient of that blame. So you got to have liability insurance for people that may trip and fall right in front of your trailer, as well as for people that eat your food and claim to have gotten sick. Now, one thing you want to understand when you get a liability insurance is you don't admit when somebody comes up and says, I've got a hamburger from you last night, it made me sick. You don't say, yeah, it happens. You just say two things. You're going to apologize for the inconvenience of them having to deal with gotten sick. Doesn't necessarily mean it was from your food. I'm just sorry you got sick. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to contact my insurance company and let them call you. And I'm going to call the health department and let them know that somebody is claiming they got food poisoning, and let the health department handle it. What that does is it takes away any power this person thinks they have over you, because you're turning yourself into the health department. Most likely the health department isn't going to do anything. They only come out when there's multiple accusations of food poisoning, and then they will come out, and it will not be a fun time for you if you have one of those. So if one single person says they got food poisoning, just take their power away. My insurance company is going to handle it, and I'm going to call the health department myself. So now that person has no power over you at all. But you got to have that insurance agent. Now remember, an insurance agent is different than the insurance adjuster. The insurance agent's your friend. They want to sell you more insurance in the future. The insurance adjuster, on the other hand, is not your friend. He wants to protect the assets of his employer, which is the insurance company. So he is going to give you the least amount of settlement possible. And it may not be what you deserve, and it may not even be what your policy would cover. So make sure you understand your policies. And then if you have to file a claim, make sure you're getting the maximum benefit for what you're paying for. Of course, we're going to need partners in technology. Technology would include things like your POS system, and we'll talk about all the things the POS system can cover and should do for you. You're going to need location apps. You're going to need a website. You're going to need internet connectivity. The internet connectivity is going to be for your POS system. Most modern POS systems are cloud-based. So even though you may have it on your phone, a lot of the transactions are going to be through the internet. So you have to have an internet connection. A POS system, at the very least, needs to be able to track your inventory. It needs to be able to process credit cards. It needs to have a KDS. KDS stands for Kitchen Display Screen. That takes you out of the handwriting paper check business, because you don't want to do that. That's slow and that's archaic. We have had KDS systems in restaurants since the late 90s, and it's about time that food trucks caught up with the technology. KDS is not expensive. You can get a KDS that's as big or as little as you want it to be. You can use a tablet to be your screen. All you need is a POS system that allows you to connect to the KDS. Then you need something that's very new in our business, and that's called an order up alert. Think of that as the dude that's hollering out the window that number two's order is ready, or they're hollering out, "Hey, Bill, your food's up." Now, you know that when it gets busy, no one's going to be able to hear you yell. And most likely they're not going to be paying attention until they realize that, oh crap, I ordered food and I'm hungry. Where is my food? So an order up alert is going to be one of two things. You're either using a pager system, which they're fairly inexpensive now. You can get a set of 20 for about $100, $150 on Amazon, and they'll work decently. Or you're going to have the ability to capture the cell phone number of the guest and let them know that we're going to send you a text message when your food is up. And there are POS systems that have all that built in, so that all you have to do is push the button, a single button, not a 10-digit number to dial, and it lets the guests know their food's up. You want that kind of stuff built in. It helps you to be faster. It helps you to be better. So that's just the technology side, but we still got more partners to go through. You're going to need suppliers. This is the big one. Where are you getting all your food? Where are you getting all your paper? Where are you getting all your cleaning supplies? You could get them all from one source. You could get them all from multiple sources. The big thing now in a lot of areas is we're using small businesses to support our small business. So you may get a bakery to bake your buns. You may get a farm to provide you with produce. You may get a butcher shop to provide you with your meats. In all of those circumstances, those are small businesses that you want them to cross-promote you in their shop, as well as you cross-promote them on your menu and on your food truck. So for instance, if you have a bakery and you sell only their baked goods as far as buns and breads go, part of your menu would say, "We proudly serve bread from Bill's Bakery. Please check them out." And then inside Bill's Bakery, they should have a little sign that says, "If you're looking for our food, you can find it at." And then it should list your food truck and wherever else they have their products being sold to. This works well with produce companies. It works well with any small business. The idea, again, cross-promote. You're helping each other out, because the more you sell of their bread, the more they can sell you bread. So they want to help you grow as a business. You also want to partner with other food trucks if you are able to get bigger volume discounts. There's a gentleman that lives a few hours south of Chicago in an area where they don't have a lot of meat deliveries. But if you go to Chicago, only 2 hours north, there's a whole meat packing district where you can get really, really good deals on a whole bunch of meat. Okay, so what these food truckers got together is there's one guy that once a month goes and rents a refrigerator truck, drives up there, and then buys all the meat for everyone to use. And then he's making money on it too. So he's selling the meat cheaper than if they had it delivered to them. So he's delivering the meat to them. They get it at a better price, and they're getting really better quality meat because he can go up there and handpick his meat and say, "I want this one, and I want this one, and I want that one." So there are things you can do to help lower your costs if you're just open to suggestions and open to negotiation with any of the partners that are going to be supplying your food. Way back in the day, we used to, one of the restaurants I had, we had to go to the railroad yard. This kind of shows you how old I am. We had to go to the railroad yard when they would bring in the big box cars full of fruits and vegetables and that kind of thing. We got to pick what we wanted, and we would talk to the different produce suppliers there, because they would be the ones picking it off the box cars and putting it on their trucks to go deliver. And we would just tell them, "I want that onion, I want this tomato, I want this particular product." They would pile it together and then deliver it to us later in the day. We had to do that. That was the only way we could get high quality produce for a really, really good price. Because right now, if you're using any kind of order online and then go pick up shopping, if you do produce, you're seeing crappy produce, because the person that's doing the online shopping for you is picking up whatever they see. and they're throwing it in the basket and then giving it to you. You want to have as much attention to all of your supplies as you possibly can, because the quality is what's going to help you to be successful. Health inspectors are a resource. They are a partner. Even though we look at them as the bad guy, they're not. Their only goal in their job is to protect the public from people that aren't going to do things in a food safe manner. So they're a resource person. They can help you fill out a HACCP plan or explain what a HACCP plan is. And if you don't know what that is, the initials are Hazard Analysis Critical Control Points. And that's just a real fancy way of saying, how do you handle the food once you pick it up and it's inside your food trailer till you hand it out to your guest, and all the different steps in between, and then how you monitor the food at all of those different steps. If it's a cold food, you're monitoring the temperature of the refrigerator, the temperature of the food itself. When it gets prepped, how's it being prepped? What's the procedure for that? How's it being cooked? What's the cooking temperature? What's the cookout temperature? What's the holding temperature? How long do you hold it? And then, assembly, process, and service. So it's just following the food through your chain of command or your chain of responsibility. Health inspectors can help you to understand that. They can also, if you're really good friends with, and tell you when things are going to be changing, because they know when the rules are going to be changing. They'll tell you ahead of time. And it's much better for them to tell you 6 months out than for them to tell you the day of the inspection, oh, this changed a month ago. Sorry, you should have known that. You're going to need repairmen. One of the other stories I have is we had an air conditioner go out over Labor Day weekend, and it's hard to find somebody to come repair something on one of those weekends. When you have an air conditioner out, people will walk in, feel how hot it is, and walk right back out. Because I live in Florida, so we need air conditioning. We were able to get a guy come out and repair our air conditioning. Took him a couple of hours, but he got it fixed, got it running, and we got through that weekend when we could have actually lost the whole weekend's worth of sales. He saved us. So you want repairmen and have a good relationship with them. You are going to need at some point a refrigeration person. Might as well make a friend of a refrigeration person today, because you're going to need one. You're going to need somebody that understands, if you have a truck, the mechanical side of it. If you have a trailer, still the mechanical side of it, because the trailer also has to have its axles greased and the wheel wells and that kind of thing, or the wheel hubs rather. So there are maintenance things that you may or may not want to do. If you don't want to do them, you have to find somebody else to do them. So you want to have those repairmen already lined up. One of the things that no one ever thinks about is, what happens when I have a flat on my trailer? Do you have a jack that's big enough to lift that trailer up and hold it safely while you change that tire? Most likely you don't. So what are you going to do? You're going to have to call somebody. Have that person already lined up. Somebody that you can call at 7 o'clock at night when you're on the way back, and they'll come out and fix the tire for you. Because it's going to happen. So I'm just telling you right now, just be prepared for it. One other thing you can get is called a maintenance contract, and that's where somebody is going to come in for a monthly fee, say $35 a month, and they come in and do the little piddly maintenance things that most restaurant owners and food truck owners neglect to do or just forget to do. For example, if you have water filtration system, those things have to be changed every 30 days. You'll probably be real good about it the first couple of months, and then you're going to forget because you have a million other things to do. Maintenance contract would come in and do that for you. If you have a filter system in your air conditioner, they would come in and clean those or change those out for you. A maintenance contract, they're doing the little things, again, that we don't like to do, but need to be done to help our equipment to keep running efficiently. And they give a discount rate when you have to call them in off hours. Instead of it being, $150, $200 an hour, they might give it to you for $75 or $100. So they're giving you a discount rate for emergency and off hour repairs. That's the benefit to a maintenance contract. Of course, you're going to need staff. And I'm talking about non-family member staff. When you have to hire a stranger, the way that you handle training and the way you handle payroll changes completely. Now you're official. So if you have to hire staff, you want to advertise where it makes sense to advertise. You're a business. Don't feel the least bit bad about putting "I need help" wanted on Indeed or any of those other big websites, because a job is a job. So you're going to have to advertise, figure out where you're going to advertise before you ever need to hire somebody. One of the things that I was really, really good at all of those restaurants that you saw that I ran or was a trainer for is I kept the place staffed. I was always hiring people. I was always looking for the next best employee. Very rarely was I shorthanded. I made sure I had people. So part of the advertising process, once you got them in, you got to talk to them. You can't just hold up a mirror to them and see if they fog it and go, "Yep, you're hired." You also can't depend upon people that say, "I've worked at McDonald's and Burger King and Wendy's." Doesn't mean that they were good. And it doesn't mean they're going to be good for you. So we've got to interview people and take it serious. One of the things that I would tell everybody that I ever interviewed, because they wouldn't be serious about jobs, especially here in the last 10 or so years. It's a restaurant, big deal, not a big deal. I'm not gonna be here forever. Just hire me, dude. And I would tell them, when I started working in restaurants, I was just a teenager, but I got to be a manager before they allowed managers of my age to even exist. I was a teenage manager before they ever hired teenage managers. The company had a policy. You had to be 21. I was nowhere near 21 when they hired me as a manager. I got to go to the Virgin Islands through Wendy's because I was a really good manager. I was a guy that didn't hurt my feelings a bit to say, "Would you like fries with that?" That's a butt of a joke from Robin Williams from years ago. I had no problem saying that. And I got rewarded by being put up in St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands for a year, running the 5th highest volume Wendy's in the world. And they not only paid me the salary, they paid me to live there. They paid for my accommodations and they gave me a truck to drive around the island. And that's all because I just followed the rules of Wendy's Corporation. So when you hire people, you're hiring them for your business, and it is a big deal to you. They need to understand it's a big deal and treat it like it's a big deal. When you hire them, you got to train them. And I don't care if they worked at McDonald's for the last 15 years, you're going to train them on how you want things done. And you will correct them when they don't do things the way you want it done. That's how you train them, and that's how you get them to be better. And then you're going to follow up. Anytime that you hire somebody, you're going to follow up to make sure they're doing the job the way you expected it to be done. Doesn't mean that you're looking over their shoulder and micromanaging. Micromanaging is when you tell them, "Hey, you need to turn that wrap a different direction. Hey, you need to mark the wrap a different way." Follow-up is you let them do the job, and then you point out things that they could do better after they've already done the job. Micromanaging is in real time. Follow-up is after they've done the job, and you tell them what's the most important things for them to get better. And there is a procedure for everything. Your way should be the way everybody does it. If you hire 3 people, you shouldn't have 3 different ways of doing something. It should always be your way. And then only change if somebody points out that there is a better way. And then be smart enough and humble enough to recognize that, "Oh crap, I don't know everything. We will do it your way from now on. Thank you for that tip." Because it happens. It happens all the time. So those are the main partners that you need. And I'm going to give you the disclaimer on the partner that you don't need, or you should really, really consider, and that is the financial partner. When you're starting your business, you're going to have financial needs. No matter how much money you got in the bank right now today to start your business, I can guarantee you're going to spend more money than you realize. And it could be a lot more than you even have in the bank right now. So that's why people take on partners. If you're going to take on a partner, it needs to be loan only. Do not take on somebody that says, "Well, I've got a background and I'm going to help you." You can help me with money, or you can leave me alone. Because the second that you bring somebody on that says they know something about marketing, or they know something about cooking, or they know something about anything to do with your business, and they are brought on as a partner to help, they are going to nitpick every decision that you make to death. And you will be the recipient of "I told you so" on anything that you disagree with them on. See, if you listened to me, it would have done better. If you'd have done it my way, we'd already be making $1 million a year. So if you're going to have to bring on somebody for financial, bring them on because they have money. And then you pay them back. Don't give them a chance to have a piece of your company. Don't give them the chance to have any authority over anything that's done. The only thing that they should worry about is they loaned you $10,000 and they're going to be paid back so much money per month until the thing's paid off. And the only thing they should worry about is if you're late on your payments. They should not bother you about anything else. Using other people's money makes sense for business. Businesses do it all the time. The problem is new business owners don't understand the responsibilities and then the things that they just don't know. The food truck business is not difficult. I will be the first person to tell you it's not difficult, but I can tell you a whole bunch of people that make it look really, really hard. I deal with people every day. I talk to people usually between 6 and 8 people a day, every once in a while more than 8. That's why sometimes when I get on these classes, I'm a little bit hoarse. But out of all those people that I talk to, they're willing to learn and listen. And that's what you guys are here. You're here to learn and listen. So I am ready for questions. If you guys have